from the blackest corners of your mind, they call, pulling you deep into shadow, twisting your senses, keeping you from sleep. It's time to face your darkest fears. This is Tales to Terrify. Good evening, children of the night, and welcome. As I hinted at last episode, we've got a special show coming your way next week. The long-awaited reveal of the winners of our Secret Society's Flash Fiction Contest. 3 bite-sized tales that delve deep into the secret worlds that exist in the shadows beneath the polite facade of society. I don't want to reveal too much and ruin the surprise, so until then, you'll just have to wait with bated breath. Oh, and bring your appetite. Tonight we have 2 tales for you, about a woman who finally catches the object of her desire, and a young couple in deep trouble with the supernatural, who seek the help of a medium. Our first story for the evening comes from A.M. Symes. A.M. Symes is on a diabolical quest to give readers nightmares. She does this with her Dead Birds writing group and through a variety of superb horror publications. Children of the night, join me for A.M. Symes' Chipping Away, a Tales to Terrify original.
All 10 of her toes are painted with 3 coats of Cherry Bomb's sparkly nail polish, which leaves a copper taste on my lips as I kiss them. No one ever noticed her left foot was slightly larger than her right, except me, and I take extra pleasure in walking my fingers along the bottoms of her feet to measure the difference. I carefully caress each foot while moving up from her adorable little toes to her lightly calloused heels. She was a runner. Her calloused heels were a small price to pay for her sculpted calves that did themselves frequently draw attention. She pretended not to notice others looking at her legs when she stretched before a run, but she was damn proud of her calves. Goosebumps spread along her skin as I traced my fingers over her flesh, and I can feel her shudder under my touch. Sliding over her knees, which are just now starting to crackle and pop after 40 years of gliding her effortlessly through life, I make a mental note to purchase a new razor to better shave leg stubble next time. While her calves drew the most attention from others, it is her thighs that make me flush with desire now. On a dare, she had cracked a walnut using just her thighs in front of all my party guests. And later, for a private showing, she cracked another walnut between her butt cheeks. It left a large red welt on her flesh, but made for a fun story to tell before the story of what happened between the sheets. The welt is no longer visible, but I traced the spot where it had been anyways before moving up to her hips. Pressing lightly, I am able to hook 3 fingers and my thumbs over each hip bone, squeezing for a moment to help her slide down along the wooden table. I continue tracing upwards, curving in along her waist to her toned abs. Her abs are not visible, but I can trace each muscle if I press hard as I move up to her ribs and then to her diaphragm. I linger on her diaphragm longest, feeling her rapidly increasing and shortening breaths as they strain through her body. Next, her breasts. They are the least impressive body part, but their smallness was appreciated when shopping for bras. Plus, large breasts are just added weight, and during a long run, that extra weight wears us women down. Above them, her neck is stretched out, her wrinkles pulled back to reveal tiny white lines in her sun-sizzled skin from the hours she usually spent outside. By the time I reach her chin, it's quivering and wet. She has a strong jawline, now streaked with tears that pour from her clenched eyes, their salty drops running past her duct-taped lips and down along her neck before disappearing into her auburn hair. Her forehead, usually covered by straight bangs, has a new hammer-sized dent slightly left of the middle and is already inflamed where the blood pools just below the skin. I kiss the dent, leaving a perfect rosy outline of my lips. After wiping my lipstick from her flushed flesh, I run my hands through her hair. My fingers come away red, the blood backspray starting to coat both of us. I lean in and kiss each of her fluttering eyelids, then using the palms of my hands, push her the rest of the way through the wood chipper. The machine effortlessly grinds through her, as she had so effortlessly ground through my heart. Skin, hair, muscle, bone, and blood. So much blood.
That was A.M. Symes' Chipping Away, as read by Summer Brooks. Summer Brooks is a bit of a television addict and enjoys putting her sci-fi media geek skills to good use in interviewing guests. She has been a co-host for Slice of Sci-Fi from 2005 to 2009, the co-host for the Babylon podcast from 2006 to 2012, and host of Kick-Ass Mystic Ninjas before returning to Slice of Sci-Fi full-time as host and producer in August of 2014. She is an avid reader and writer of sci-fi, fantasy, and thrillers, with a handful of publishing credits to her name. Next on her agenda is writing an urban fantasy tale and a B-movie monster extravaganza. Currently, Summer designs and maintains websites for clients in addition to having fun with the Slice of Sci-Fi websites, and also does voiceover and narrations for Tales to Terrify, Starship Sofa, and Escape Pod, among others. Thank you, Summer. Our second tale this evening comes from Mike Thorn. Mike Thorn is the author of the novel Shelter for the Damned, and two short story collections, Darkest Hours and Peel Back and See. His fiction has appeared in numerous magazines, anthologies, and podcasts, including Vastarian, Dark Moon Digest, No Sleep, and Tales to Terrify. His film criticism has been published in American Twilight, The Cinema of Toby Hooper, The Film Stage, In Review Online, and elsewhere. Connect with him on Twitter at Mike Thorn Writes, and visit his website, mikethornwrites.com. Listen with me, children of the night, to Mike Thorn's The Shape of Our Damnation, a Tales to Terrify original.
The visitor introduces itself as an inhuman susurration, a sound like air escaping from a damaged vent. I circle the bedroom in nothing but underwear, squinting and kneeling, testing the baseboard heaters with my fingertips. Streetlight bleeds between the slats of the window shades, casting light on the murky shapes of our bedside table, mirrored closet doors, and bed. In the night, the room looks especially skeletal. Shoddy thrift store furniture, no art on the beige walls, dust collecting in the corners. Larissa drowsily lifts her head. Matt, what are you doing? She looks at me with one eye closed, the other barely open, her blonde hair wild with sleep static. I spot something dark and shiny nestled on the dust-coated radiator beneath the window. I kneel to pick it up. It's a round, black button. Did you lose this? I ask Larissa. From one of your cardigans, maybe? She murmurs a non-response and rolls over. Earlier today, we had one of our worst fights. It ended with her smoking on the balcony, despite her recent vow to quit, while I washed 3 days' worth of ignored dishes, struggled to exercise my frustrated energy to recenter myself through the chore's monotony. The chore went from therapeutic to Sisyphean as I became increasingly aware of all the other messes we'd been ignoring. The oil splatters behind the Frigidaire oven, the crumbs scattered across the ugly green counters, and the shocking amount of detritus on the laminate floor. I'm just looking for a ghost, I say glibly, a bad attempt to cut the tension still crackling between us. Don't mind me. No response. Either she's fallen back asleep or she doesn't want to get into it. I think I see a thread-bound spider descending from the ceiling, but my hand meets nothing when I swing at the gloom. Tiredness and anxiety are making me loopy. After one more lap around the room, I accept that my search is fruitless. When I slip back under the covers, Larissa stirs. Maybe there's a kind of sexual energy in our shared unease because her fingers automatically slide under the waistband of my briefs, and my lips find her collarbone. And before we know it, we're following our bodies to the logical conclusion. I expel the intrusive thought that someone is watching. Our tall landlord, Johnny, stands in the doorway, with thumbs hooked into belt loops, bound up in awkward exit talk. Weather sure has been scorching these past few weeks. Glad he got away to Ireland to visit his brother. Oh yeah, he loves it there. He goes every darn year. His aged, avian face betrays a lingering suspicion in spite of the affable chit-chat. I ask if he's sure he wouldn't like something to drink, but oh no, he's fine, thank you very much. He tells me to call him if I need anything else. His pockets jingle with keys and coins as he crosses the hall to the elevator. I close the door and stare vacantly into our half-cleaned but still filthy kitchen. 2 sounds. Bing from the hall as the elevator arrives for Johnny. And then the cacophony of our bedroom's closet's mirrored door spontaneously exploding. The next morning, my eyes sting. My brain still carries the vague residue of last night's bad dream. I was paralyzed in some vast expanse of white nothingness. I tried to cry for help, but had no voice. Somewhere in the distance, there was a relentless chorus of human screams. I pace around the living room, unshaven, hair disarrayed, garbed in boxers and a tank top, eyes stinging from days of insomnia. Larissa squats barefoot on the worn, yellow living room sofa, studying me with exhaustion-bruised eyes, cereal bowl balanced on her pajamaed knees. Why don't you sit? she asks. I'm fine. Look, I believe you about the mirror thing, she says, wiping milk from her chin. But I don't know what to do about it. During the exploding glass debacle, she was at a job interview for a local startup, seeking a communications specialist. I spent hours trying to think up a rational explanation. I finally determined I could do nothing but tell the truth. Wait, I say. I stop in my tracks. I ease into the chair beside her in a manner I hope seems calm and rational. So you believe there's a ghost in the apartment? Maybe. My pulse throbs at my wrists. At least you believe that the mirror shattered itself. It's too much, this conversation, this problem. Especially amidst our seemingly endless avalanche of emotional and financial stress. Rent raised and Larissa quitting her job, household appliances fritzing out, demons emerging from our relationship's spotty past to force wedges between us. She has become suddenly and uncharacteristically jealous of my colleague Tasha. She snaps at random. Sometimes I struggle with a potent desire to leave. Given everything, discussing a possible haunting seems quaint. Comforting, even. We've both always been fascinated by the supernatural, if healthily skeptical. Yes, of course I believe you. She eyes her coffee, but does not drink it. The only other possible explanation is that you suddenly had your first ever temper tantrum 8 years into our relationship and shattered the mirror with your fist or something. She smiles, playful but faint deprecation, adding, And I mean, I don't know if you've got that kind of strength. No offense, babe, but you're kind of a wimp. I mock flex my skinny teacher arm. Oh yeah? Yeah, and I love you for it. She takes my hands and scrutinizes them. I don't see any cuts, no marks of any kind. Her smile fades. So, if it's a ghost, who do you think it is? Who's haunting us? I know nothing about this apartment's history, really, other than knowing that the building was constructed sometime in the late 70s, and that the previous tenant had been a graduate student. There's nothing especially spooky about it. 500 square feet, small narrow kitchen to the right as you enter, tiny balcony behind the dining area, which is adjacent to the living room. It's all outdated tile, dark laminate flooring, tacky light fixtures, and nondescript wall color. The quintessential rental property. I think we're both tired, Larissa says. She leans in for a quick kiss, and then she's up, rinsing her bowl, and I meditate on her question. Who's haunting us? Soundtracked by the wet hiss of her morning shower. The next morning, I find myself stuck in that interstitial moment on the cusp of waking, hazy with dream dregs and distantly sensing reality's oncoming force. Senseless embarrassment strikes me as I slide into consciousness, like I should be able to tell what's real and what isn't. My cell phone's vibration on the bedside table melts briefly with the dream-induced image of my babbling kindergarten teacher, and I spin with confusion as I glance at the Android screen. Our building is equipped with a system that connects the buzzer with tenants' mobile phones. So when I see that the caller is identified as door, I realize that someone is trying to get in. I glance at the screen clock. 3:45 in the morning. These details accumulate to send a hum of apprehension through my body. I look to Larissa, as if she might tell me what to do. But she's in her open-mouthed, face buried in the pillow stage of deep sleep. Stuck between brewing fear and the oddness of my disrupted dream, I accept the call, put the phone to my ear, and say, "Hello?" There's a pause, portentous silence. Even the bedroom's standing fan seems to mute itself. Then, a crackly whoosh blasts through the android. It sounds thick. That's the word that strikes my sleep-fogged mind. Like a collection of dead signals from a street packed with ancient electronic devices. Like the distorted noise of dial-up internet. And then, underneath the din, there's a faint sound. Like a voice crying out from the other end of a long train platform. This vocalization increases in volume, as if it's forcing through the current of chaos flooding into my ear, until it's so close I could swear I feel its moist exhalation. "Who is this?" I ask. My voice cracks. Larissa rouses, surveying me through slitted eyes before turning her attention to the phone in my tight grip. What's going on? "It's me," says whoever or whatever is operating our building's buzzer, seeking to gain access. The static drops away, and I hear with terrible clarity that my own voice is addressing me from outside. "It's you." I blink. Behind my eyelids, I see the shapes of spiderwebs. Larissa's fingers dig into my arm. I see on her face an uncanny expression of dread, and it's so intense that I tip over into terror. "Hang up," she says through clenched teeth. "Right now." I'm paralyzed by disorientation and horror, so she repeats herself, yelling this time. "Hang up right fucking now." I click end call, and the screen goes dark. For a moment, we're submerged in blackness. I only notice that my hand is shaking when I reach out to turn on the lamp. Larissa has always been the braver of us, the more assured. But she looks at this moment like someone facing the worst that reality can offer. I felt it, Matt. So close. She gulps with apparent struggle. It doesn't want to leave. When Larissa brings up Danny the next afternoon, I squash the instinct to get defensive and ask why she isn't over it already. It wouldn't be fair of me. "Oh, yeah, right. I remember her," I say, speaking with a levity that suggests the person in question is of no importance. But I know I'm failing to sell the act. Just hearing her name makes me feel a bit unsteady. This feeling is shame, yes, but also framed by faint and forbidden excitement. Oh yes, I remember. The party was at its ludic peak when Danny glided through the crowded kitchen toward me. She got close enough to fill my ear with her vodka-warm breath, leaning in to say, "What are we going to do about this?" And before I could ask what she meant, her tattooed fingers gripped my upper arms, painted nails indenting my skin. I was dizzy from a cocktail of pheromones, beer, and perfume, hypnotized by her dramatic features. Fierce blue eyes, sharp cheekbones, dyed black hair. I'd been sneaking glances all night, magnetized by her room-filling confidence, her black miniskirt and tattooed thighs. I'd attempted discretion until now, when I scanned her body with a brazenness that surprised even me. And then her eyes found mine, and some silent agreement took hold as we moved in, kissing with insane passion, and the room's heat flooded me. We were both sweating, and I tasted her soda-sweet tongue before I heard Larissa burst into the room. Her tearful scream. "What the fuck?" "Yeah, Danny. Larissa says. She's a medium, or a witch, or both, I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about that stuff. But she's been practicing for years, and she's the real deal. She sighs. And please, don't act like you don't remember. It's patronizing. I deserve that. Yes, we made up, but those sorts of transgressions never totally disappear. There have been jagged cuts in our communication all morning. Sudden intermissions of awful awareness. I think I remember her mentioning something about that, I say. About magic or witchcraft, I mean. Larissa blinks like it's a forced motion. Before or after your hands were up her skirt? I don't retort. My mind drifts to the spicy-smelling New Age shop 3 blocks from our home, a place where the floors always creak and the air makes me feel itchy. I've wandered inside a few times out of curiosity, browsing the inventory and wishing distantly that I believed in something. I believe now. Believe with great conviction that a paranormal force has imposed itself into our lives. I close the fridge door and turn around. On the wall across from me, a shadow seems to move against all rules of light, untethered from any visible force. Later that day, Larissa goes down to the lobby to greet Danny. I stand dazedly by the oven, slurping at my second coffee of the day. I hear the women's voices as they traverse the hallway to our unit. The door swings open. Danny gives me a respectful nod. Matthew, she says. Danny, I reply. She unshoulders a tote bag with a humorless, whispery half-laugh. Uh-huh, she says, looking at Larissa. Oh yeah, I definitely feel a presence in this place. There's a lot of strong energy. I fumble for a response. Energy? So, what does that... Well, Danny says, I came prepared. The first task is not exciting, but it's necessary. And I think we can get it done quickly between the 3 of us. We need to clean the apartment from top to bottom. Dusting, sweeping, scrubbing, vacuuming. Larissa looks a little embarrassed as she glances at the living room, layered with several weeks' worth of dust and cluttered with books, papers, and mugs. And then what? I ask. When Danny turns to address me, any warmth has vanished from her eyes, and I see instead an expression of obscure wisdom that feels somehow invasive. I shift my gaze. Next, Danny continues, as if I hadn't spoken, unearthing several small glass containers from her bag. I burn sage, Palo Santo, and mugwort. Larissa and I both nod as if we know what these fairy tale words signify. Danny runs her fingers through her hair. Then we wash the floors and door handles with sage and hot water. And I mean hot, boiling hot. She drifts into the kitchen, and I barely notice her body brushing against me as she passes. I've snagged on that strangely probing look she gave me, feeling exposed, wanting to shut myself in the bedroom or disappear to the neighborhood cafe. But I speak to cut the ominous quiet. Is that it? That's the setup, Danny says. Then I'll do what I came here to do. I'll try reasoning with him. She smiles, as if she caught herself in a Freudian slip. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. This specter is definitely a he. She looks around, like, where do I start? And then says, one more thing. It might seem like a strange question, but do you have a spider problem in here? I feel inexplicably cold. I don't think so, Larissa says. Do we? My voice comes out flat. Not that I'm aware of. A few hours later, the apartment is as clean as I've ever seen it, fogged with spicy aromas. Danny pads toward our bedroom, chin tilted up, eyes flicking across some invisible interlocutor. Is there something you'd like to tell us? She asks. Maybe it's the power of suggestion, but I think I see a spider bungee on a silver thread, inches from my face. I jerk back impulsively, swiping at air, blinking and grimacing in that panicked, is there a bug on me way. I soon confirm that this is a product of my imagination. I'm officially seeing things. A full, uninterrupted sleep cycle is imperative. I'm disordered, jumpy, perceiving threats on my vision's peripheries. Danny's next address seems to blare directly against my eardrums. You're welcome to leave now. We would like to help you move on. She points a tatted forefinger at our open dining room window. There's the exit. It's ready for you. Larissa trails behind her, brushing the seat of her pants. Another thread speeds horizontally across my eyeline, and its black bear is so close that I can see the overhead light gleaming off it. The next thread shoots down diagonally. Then another makes straight, vertical ascent. Soon my sight is submerged in a glistening tapestry of some alien substance. Round black silhouettes skittering before me with random urgency. Buttons. Those black shapes aren't spiders, I realize. They're buttons. Like doll's eyes. Nauseous, I go limp and collapse. My knees connecting hard with the laminate floor, and Danny's voice is in my mind. Not spoken aloud, the sonic weight absent, but the communication unmistakable. It's you, Matt. It's in you, and it's not leaving. Sitting across from me in the neighborhood bar's nook booth, Larissa leans her head on Danny's shoulder. The Cure plays through the wall-mounted speakers, and behind me is a din of bar-loosened conversation, clinking glasses, sloppy laughter, love and hate, and the spectrum of feeling in between. The noise is comforting, almost enough to distract me from ruminating on the accumulation of crises that define my recent memory. Larissa wears a familiar look, the one she gets when stress has finally risen to the point of physical manifestation. It's a scared kind of resignation. An expression I saw when she first told me she had to quit her office assistant job because she could feel it killing her. Danny's gaze seems dreamily perceptive. Beautiful. Terrifying. Is it gone? 3 pints have given Larissa the time and bravery to broach the topic again. I mean, the ghost. Is he gone? Danny squeezes her friend close and says yes, but I sense something unmistakably like dread as she looks at me. I've been telling myself repeatedly that those visions of weird, spectral threads were consequences of sleep deprivation, plain and simple. And I'm almost at a point where I can believe it. Almost. You think she's hot? Larissa asks, a hint of genuine rage under her sexy playfulness as she grinds against my hips, gripping my throat. You want her? No. She squeezes tighter. Her fingernails break my skin. Yes, you do. Say it. Yes. She slaps me. Can't have her. You're mine. I suck for air, my vision going spotty as I look up at her. Mine, she says. Mine. We've done this sort of roleplay before. Light, rough stuff, but tonight a dark energy emanates. From where? Not from Larissa. No, it's huge. Beyond human. It exceeds us. Thought becomes irrelevant as I climax. Choking. The sensation accompanied by a cascade of silvery and immaterial tendrils exploding across my sightline. And for a second I feel like I'm hovering over myself, beholding my own bare chest and gasping face. Larissa repositions to face me, and I calm down at the gentle touch of her hand on my cheek. I'm back, but where did I go? Hey, she says, soothing, searching my face. Jesus, you're shaking so hard. Was it okay? Did I hurt you? No, not at all, I assure her. My teeth chatter behind a forced smile. I'm fine. My body aches from the force of some unseen suction, like my flesh is being tugged slowly from muscle and bone. To break the tension, Larissa laughs and says, I've never heard you make that sound in bed before. I'm still full of surprises after all these years, I say. She flops down beside me and whispers, You sounded like you were in so much pain. We fall asleep facing opposite walls. I rise in a spiral pattern, circling over my blanketed body. I see my open, drooling mouth, my arm tucked under Larissa, whose head rests on my chest. I study that banal scene of affection as it rotates below, shrinking into the distance. Shrinking, until it's a single speck among many. And then it becomes a doll's eye on a vast web. I continue floating, increasingly aware that my entire field of view is tapestried with eldritch, gossamer strings. A mental undertow placates me, telling me that I'll wake soon, that this is some vividly dissociative night terror. My nude body rotates so that I'm now looking up instead of down, perceiving the approach of a dewy gray membrane. I turn my face away as I draw nearer to that surface, wanting nothing less than to smell or taste it. But it's not long before I feel it straining wetly against my flesh. My thought strikes me that this is what it must feel like to push against the inside of an amniotic sac. And I witness the trauma of birth when I finally break through, pulled suddenly by gravity as I spill onto a strange, spongy surface. I gasp, beaded with sweat and extraterrestrial juices, raising myself up on my wrists to observe my surroundings. The vast terrain is fuzzed with lead-colored moss, which dully reflects the light of whatever spans above. Not a sky, but a translucent lid the color of curdled cream, whose limit points are visible, like the casing of an unholy snow globe. And in the near distance, I behold a towering, white, pillar-like structure. A humanoid figure sits atop it. I'm too far to make out the details, but the subject looks messily constructed, somehow sickly. Its neck loose with jaundiced flesh. Its clerical garments are garish purple. Am I hallucinating, or are its eyes obsidian black, glinting like polished buttons? As I perceive its face, I'm afflicted with a draining sense of despair. My brain free associates a montage of ghastly images. A child sprawled alone on a frozen lake, hyperventilating at the vivid sight of its broken legs, winterlit bones protruding from his flesh, his cries for help cushioned by a barrier of snow-covered trees. A factory farm that stinks of feces and illness and terror. The screams of its avian prisoners reaching a pitch of transcendent agony. X-rayed lungs spotted white with cancer, excruciating tumors, emphysema suffocated breath, dictators, pimps, CEOs, and cops exacting their cruelty on the powerless, whose faces run with mascaraed tears and snot and sweat and blood. I avert my gaze from the pillar-throned thing's hideous face. Quivering, I scan the surrounding terrain more closely. I spot people of varying ages, from toddlers to the elderly. They are the haunted, and their torment is visible. A murmuring middle-aged woman shuffles in a circle, plucking individual hairs from her scalp, one by one, letting them drift down to collect at her feet. A young man pounds his fist against his breastbone, which is already scarlet from extensive beating. His eyes scream, but his mouth is silent. Mostly, though, the people are pressed against the translucent surface of their enclosure, hushed, gazing outward. I'm self-conscious of my nakedness, but much more oppressive is my mounting sense of confused horror. I approach a stout, bulky man, whose face conveys unthinkable melancholy. "I'm sorry," I say, and I nearly laugh, overpowered by the awful surrealness of it all. I gulp down the hysteria and struggle to continue. "I'm sorry, but what? Where?" I can't even vocalize questions. My words slip out as fumbled half-declarations. The man, whose head and jaw are stubbled blonde, runs a palm down his gray shirt as he looks at me. "It happens fast, doesn't it?" He nods. Eddie and I, Eddie was my husband. We thought it was a rat infestation that was causing all those noises at night. God, those noises. He stares at some unseen object adjacent to my head, avoiding eye contact. His chin trembles. But it was the irreal me. You're looking right now at the real me, right? Do I seem real to you? I'm sorry, I don't. Do I? Do I? Yes. Yes. That's right, because I'm me. There's something else down there. He points an unsteady finger at the smooth surface through which he'd been peering. It might look like me, but it's not me. It's not. His voice raises enough to catch the chest beater's attention, who echoes him. It's not me. It's not me. The sternum puncher chants, crazily swiveling his head. His screams increase in volume until his voice goes hoarse. Will you listen? Will someone listen? It's not me. The stubble-headed man looks as if he'd just been given the exact date and time of our inevitable human apocalypse. Or something even worse. I am not dreaming. This bleak knowledge entombs me. Stubblehead grabs my arm and tugs me toward the surface. "You'll see," he says. He shows you. The Lord of Pain sees everything. "Lord of Pain?" I say, and I start turning toward the pillar-seated entity, but the man yanks my face away. "Please don't look at him," he begs. "Don't ever look at him." Scarring memory is written all over his features. Because when you do, you bring so much hurt down there. When I open my mouth to speak, I note the air's foul sweetness. "How? Listen, you think I understand?" I raise my hands in faint defense. "I think the Lord of Pain sent something down, and it took me out of me," he says. "That's what I think. Shucked me like a goddamn oyster." Not far behind him, a young boy moans in lonely panic, eyes rolling back, hands clawing at the air. The child crumples and twitches as if he's in the throes of a seizure. I watch, paralyzed, with shock, numb. "What is a soul?" the stubbled man continues, his eyes glimmering with demented comprehension. "Do you like that word? Soul. It sounds so nice." There's no love in his smile. Whatever's inside us, it feeds the Lord of Pain. And he just loves to gorge on our hurt. I nod in abstract recognition, and then rotate slowly to peer through the translucent barrier. Down below, I see myself again, stirring in bed, gently easing Larissa's head from my chest and onto her pillow. "That is me," I whisper, my voice wobbling with stupid awe. Danny's words echo in my mind. "It's you, Matt." "It's not." Stubblehead is weeping now. "You are here. From now on, all we can do is watch. Watch them colonize our bodies. Watch them celebrate and deceive and waste and fuck and eat and argue and laugh and love and be." His moist breath catches in his throat. "And then, when our shells die, which they will, so many of us have witnessed lifetimes and beyond, we'll still be here, left with nothing." He gestures to the hair-plucking woman. "Just like her, we'll all submit to the madness. Because forever is such a very long time. It's not really time at all." The mourning in his eyes is so profound that I instinctively look away, and my gaze lands again on the Lord of Pain. Horror assails my consciousness. I am crushed by the force of it, and as I fall to my knees, I know that he is smiling.
That was Mike Thorn's The Shape of Our Damnation, as read by Austin Stern. Austin Stern is a content creator, narrator, and musician from southern New Mexico with a small YouTube channel and a podcast of his own called Eerie. Lover of cats, coffee, and all things creepy, he is honored to be here to read for you all. Thank you, Austin. Well, children of the night, the hour is late, and we've run out of tales to tell. For now. Tales to Terrify is made possible by the tremendous generosity of our supporters on Patreon and PayPal. Incredible fans like Lestle Baxter, Paul Belcher, Amanda Carrillo, Amanda Gottfried, and Orion D. Hegre, whose generous support helps keep the lights on and flickering ominously. Not a supporter already? Head over to patreon.com/Tales to Terrify, where you'll find all kinds of perks, like ad-free episodes, bonus content, and one-of-a-kind collectibles and merch packs. Every dollar goes back into this show to make it as horrific as possible, and we appreciate it so much. Want another way to support the show that doesn't cost a cent? Head over to Podchaser, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating or review. You'll not only put an unnaturally wide smile on our faces, but help new listeners discover our terrifying tales too. Why not share your love of the show out in the world with some Tales to Terrify merch? TalesToTerrify.com/merch will take you to our TeePublic store, where we've got a great collection of creepy custom and curated designs, so you can show those around you just how twisted you truly are. Tales to Terrify is produced by Seth Williams, Meredith Morgenstern, Andrew Gibson, Crystal Hammond, Spencer Disparty, and myself, Drew Sebastini, with original theme by Nebulous Entertainment. Tales to Terrify is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Join us again next week as we expose the secret world beneath with more Tales to Terrify.